My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Hello, wild dreamer. That's what we're going to talk about today. Not just being a wild dreamer, but being brave enough and tenacious enough to bring those dreams into the world. So what dreams have you given up hope on? I was really moved today. I was on a call. It was like women in business kind of thing. And the speaker was talking about this kind of coworker that was constantly coming at her and just putting her down and shutting her down and telling her that she was crazy, and then using like this reality, like liability, all this stuff to shut her down. And she talked about, like, at first it was kind of working. Like, here's the thing is that if someone judges you or someone comes at you or impels something at you, it only affects you if somewhere you are aligning and agreeing. If somewhere you've bought that it is true or it might be true. And that's something I've had to work on my whole life. I had so many dreams growing up. I remember, you've probably had this question asked to you a million times, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I'm going to be a writer. And people would be like, well, you need to be realistic. Writers don't make money. And you need to be realistic. Like, why would your book sell? And I think I was probably 12 years old at the time. And I was like, oh, okay. So that dream isn't realistic. So that means I can't have it in this reality. Like, that's where my brain connected the things. If it's not realistic, then I can't have it in this reality. I can only have it in the land of the dreams. And I remember years later, I was probably 16, maybe 17, like starting to think about, leaving the house, growing up, starting my new life. And someone had gifted me a session with a psychic, like a tarot reader. And she said, is there anything you want to know? And the biggest question I still had, because even though I had agreed, like, yeah, you're right, I probably can't do this, there was this little tiny thread of hope that I kept with me. And I asked her, am I ever going to be a published author? And she looked at her cards and she looked me dead in the eye and she said, no. And I was like, oh, huh. Guess I don't get to have that dream. And I had many other dreams similar, because after I gave up the dream of being a writer, I wanted to be an actor. And then I was told, from my own father, honey, you're not pretty enough to be an actress. What makes you think that you could be an actress? Now, I'm not saying this so you feel bad for me. No. I'm saying this so that you can look at, for you, what are some of the things, and maybe they're haven't even been voiced. Because sometimes there are energetics going on that you're aware of, but not cognitively aware of. So when you go to share your big dream with someone, and maybe the words coming out of their mouth is like, oh, that's nice, honey. As that 12-year-old. But what energetically did you pick out of their head? Oh, that will never work. Oh, they'll never be able to do that. Oh, that's a cute idea. They'll grow out of it someday. So slowly over time, we buy all these people's points of view. Now, not everyone. Some people, they come in so tenacious that it does not matter what someone says to them. It's like water off a duck's back. They're just like, nope, I got my dreams and follow my dreams. And then there are some of us that have bought into the lies. We have bought into the impossibility. We've allowed our dreams to be broken. Or what I've seen a lot of people do is they create this Pico universe, this little dreamland where they put their dreams into to keep them safe. But they never bring them into the world. Because at least here they're safe and they can still be a dream and no one's going to touch them. But the moment you try and bring them into the world, they have to interact and engage with the world. And if you've had some shattered dreams, then you might be really protective of those dreams. So tell me, have you had dreams that you either gave up on or decided that you needed to put them into this Pico universe to protect them from judgment, from the evilness of the world, from your mother, from your father, from your siblings, whoever it is, whatever it is. Maybe it's from you. What has that been like for you? So I would like to let you know that I have published on 4 different books in a very short time. And I'm working on my own book that should be hitting shelves by 2024, the latest, maybe the end of 2023. So maybe wild dreams can come true. But how did I get there? How did I get there from going to buying into the lies that it's impossible, that I can't do it, from having this psychic woman that knows so much more about the future than me tell me no? How did I get there? How did I actualize that dream? Well, a lot of it is actually clearing out those things that I aligned with. Because you actually align yourself vibrationally with people's judgments of you, people's doubts in you, people's projections and expectations of you. You are aware of them. And again, it's not always verbal, but sometimes they'll say it right to your face. That's not realistic. You can't do that. You're not what? You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not dedicated enough. You'll never have the money for that, whatever. And it just takes a moment, and you will perceive that vibration and you align your vibration with that vibration and you become it as true. You become it. And now it's a part of you. Now you are that limitation. You're holding that limitation as though it is you, but it's not. I mean, it's never truly you. So I spent a lot of time clearing all these things that I had agreed about regarding me and regarding what I can achieve, what I can bring to the world, what I can be in the world. And as I started to clear those things out, possibilities showed up. Writing wasn't even on my radar anymore. I actually hadn't written in a really long time. And I had I'd acquired a new job. I was working for a certified facilitator, and she was like, "Hey, I want you to take over writing my blogs." And I was like, "Oh my God, I haven't written in so long. I don't know if I'm going to be good at this." So I start writing the blogs. Well, blogs, like, they're just rocketing. Like, people are loving them. They're double, triple, like the people are more and more engaged with them than ever before. Okay. Then I start writing some of my own blogs, writing some of my own stuff. Someone reaches out to me out of nowhere and says, hey, we're doing this book compilation. Do you want to be a part of it? What? I can do that? Okay. So I write in that first book and gets number 1 on Amazon. We're rocking it. I'm so proud of that chapter I wrote, and it's published. And I didn't even work on that specific thing. I wasn't working on that specific limitation I had bought about myself. I was just working on limitations in general, and the possibility showed up. See, often in this work, it's not always cause and effect, and it's definitely not linear. But you can look at one thing and like work on it, but be willing to ping around, be willing to be chaotic in your exploration of your own consciousness and your own insane mind that has grasped lies and limitations about you and put them in place. Because you might be clearing something about your mother, and then somehow this wild dream possibility pops up, and you don't even know why it's connected, but it's connected. So then everyone loved my chapter so much, I was invited onto another book, and I was like, oh, yes, of course. And then an opportunity to even grow that book and beyond some of the creative aspects of the entire project. And I was like, awesome, this is so much fun. Then I'm invited onto another book, and I was like, you know what, this has been fun, but I think I'm done, just being a chapter author. I want to like write my own book. And they begged me, they were like, no, you need to be on this book. Please be on this book. And so I took an even bigger role with this book creation. All of these books going number 1 on Amazon, multiple categories, internationally. So exciting. And that's just like the tiny beginning. But if you would have asked me years ago if I could have achieved that dream, I would have said, no way, because I had agreed that I couldn't. Now, at the time, that dream was somewhat terrifying. Like when you take from the wise words of Dr. Dane here, when you're so excited and terrified and they're kind of together, you're like terrified for something. So to become a published author was kind of terrifying for me. And now it wouldn't be. It would be amazing, and I love it. But it's not big enough, that dream, to have my own book. Now that dream's big enough for me. See where I'm going here? So I want you to start to look at some of those dreams. Maybe you have them in dreamland. Maybe they're on fragments on your basement floor. Maybe you put them so much out of your universe that you've forgotten you've even had them. Or maybe there's new dreams that are coming to you that are asking you, and only you, to bring them into the world. Now, which ones are big enough for you? Which ones give you that sense of like, oh, I'm kind of scared, but I'm excited? Which ones would actually shift your reality? What are those dreams like? Those are the more, and I call them like wild dreams, because the more predictable, tame dreams, right? We have these dreams that are very tame, like, oh, I would love to go on a trip to Mexico. Like, that's a cool dream. It's like awesome. And maybe you've never been to Mexico, so maybe it is a little bit more wild for you. I've been to Mexico. I've traveled to quite a few different places in the world. So for me, that would be like a beautiful dream, but it's not wild. It's pretty tame. It's pretty tame for me because I have a sense of what it would be like where I'd go, how easy it would be to stay somewhere. And then there's like the fun stuff that I can't predict that would show up, but it doesn't shake my reality like a wild dream would. So what are those wild dreams that shake your reality? Just a little, not like so bad that you're gonna like stop this right now and go jump in your bed and put the covers over your head, but just enough to really excite you, really exterify you, really bring in that unbridled joy of living. That's what these dreams can gift us. It's not just about, okay, now I have something in the world. Here's my book. Here's my conference. Here's my retreat. Here's my painting. It's not just that you achieved something. It's that it will affect your reality. Your world will get bigger because it exists here. And the world will get bigger because it exists here. So the first time I brought that chapter into the world, it was about a child's awareness. And I had written it right after separating from my 11-year marriage. That was really shaking for me. What have you chosen so far in your life that has shaken you in the most powerful, empowering way? Have you chosen some of those things? If not, what would it be like if you did? What would it be like if you just went for it wildly? You might require to let go of some lies you bought about yourself or about the world and what's possible and what's impossible. I look at these, amazing people like Gary Douglas, Dr. Dane Here, Simone Milasas, Richard Branson. I love Jay Shetty. So many amazing people that at some point in their life, they were probably told, well, I know for sure that most of those people were told that they were crazy, that they were told that they shouldn't be doing something, that it will never work. And sometimes things don't work. But sometimes, oh my gosh, that is just what's required to get you to the next huge possibility. If you've ever had the chance to watch any of the content out there about the guy that started Netflix, like he was told, this will never fly, Well, he's a multimillionaire now, so would you let your wild dreams fly? Would you let them out of the jail of this wonderland? It might seem like a pretty place, but would you want to be put in a bubble, or would you want to come out and be in the world? Maybe the tame dreams like it in there. But if I know anything about wild things, and I do, wild things do not like to be contained. What wildness of you would like to be untamed, unleashed? As that gift to the world. So here's our curious moment here in the Curious Universe podcast. I always like to give you questions to ask yourself and to really get into your own wondering and into your own universe So you can start to use these tools and break apart the foundations of the lies, but also start to get a clear sense of your being, one of my favorite things as a kid, I was always taking those quizzes, like, thinking that they, like in the magazines, those little cute quizzes. Now we have them on Facebook, but back in the day, you would actually get like a teen bop magazine, and it would be like, what, Disney princess are you, or whatever. And it was always hoping someone was going to give me insight on who I am and how do I work and what's different about me and what's the same about me. But what I discovered is that asking myself questions actually has created so much more awareness about all of those things that these quizzes never really did. Are you willing to know more about you? What are your stopping points? When you go to bring a wild dream into the world, what are the thoughts that come up in your head? What are the physical sensations that you're having? What are the lies that you have aligned with? And when you start to get clear on those, 80% of all the work is just getting clear on what's going on. Oh, awesome. I bought that lie when I was 4. You just did 80% of the work. How easy is that? And then it's just clearing everything you did to align and agree or resist and react to that. And then you can use this magical tool called the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You've used it a lot on the show, and I always put a link in the description if you want more. But it's a set of words that actually vibrationally clear out that where I talked about you aligning with something and making it true. You actually make it true in your reality. So if I hadn't undid the lies that I bought about becoming a published author, then I couldn't become a published author because my reality wouldn't have allowed that. So everything you did to align and agree and resist and react to the lies about you that keep you from actualizing your wildest dreams, will you, here's the clearing statement, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9 shorts, boys, POVADs, and beyonds. So go to www.theclearingstatement.com if you want more information on that. But you might already know. There's so many more places we can go, especially on this topic. And like I said, I was just so moved this morning by that webinar I was on. I was actually in tears at one point, kind of like recalling even more some of the wild dreams that I had forgotten. And that in some ways, I've always felt like a wild dream. Have you felt that way? Like to be all of you would be like living a dream life in a dream world with a dream-like reality, but not dream from this Pico universe, but actually like actualized in the world. If you would like to explore more of this, I don't normally promote anything on this show of mine. I do promote other people's. I do have a telecall coming up soon this week, I think. And I would love to have more wild dreamers there. I'd love to have people on the show, people not on the show, people on the call that are ready to take that next step into actualizing all of this. So you're invited to join if you'd like. We'll put a link in the description. And if you're watching the replay, we'll probably have something different there for you. But thank you for dreaming wildly with me today. Thank you for exploring this possibility. Because what if truly you are the only one that can bring your dreams to the world? And what if you are capable? What if it doesn't have to be realistic? You just have to say yes. And what if you are here to change the world with your wild dreams? Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on the next episode of the Curious Universe podcast. Bye for now. Thank you for exploring the curious universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?